好，我们现在开始开会。尊敬的各位同事
Colleagues,
，6月的青岛风景
in
如
this
画，
lovely season of June,
在这个美好
I
的
am
时节，
delighted to welcome all of you to the
我们
picturesque city of Qingdao
欢迎大家来到这里，出席上
for
海合
the
作组织
18th
成员
meeting
国
of the Council of Heads of Member States
第18次
of
会
the
议。
Shanghai Cooperation Organization.
早在2500多年
Over
前，
2,500 years ago,
中国古代伟大的思想家
Confucius, the great
孔子就
Chinese
说
philosopher, had this to say:
有朋自远方来，
What a
不亦
joy
乐乎？
to have friends coming from afar.
今天，
It
孔
is
子的故乡
Therefore,
山东，
of special significance
青岛就在山东。
that I host my distinguished
欢迎
guests
远方而来的
in
各方
Shandong
贵宾。
the home province
我
of
们在这里
Confucius
共商上海合作
for
组
a
织发展
summit
大计，
that will chart the
具
future
有特
course
殊意义。
of the SCO.
中方担任上海合作
During
组
its
织主席
one-year
国1年来，
presidency of the SCO,
积极
China has worked
履职
actively
尽
to
责
fulfill its responsibilities
迄今已成功举
and
办
hosted
200余项
over 200
丰富多
events
彩的活动，覆盖
for
政治、
political
安
and
全、
security
经济、
and
人
economic
文、
cooperation
对外交往，
on people-to-people
机制建设
exchange
等
and for
各个
building
领域
up the external relations
推动上
and
海合作组织
institutions
各项
of
工
the
作取得
SCO.
了新的
These have
重
led
要
to
进
new
展。
important progress of the SCO on all fronts
上述
of
成
its
绩取得
agenda.
离不开各方大力支持和
They are
密切配合。
attributable to the
中方
strong
对此表
support
示
and
衷
close
心的感谢。
cooperation from all parties represented here.
这次峰会
The
是
Chinese
上海
side
合作组
expresses
织
our
去年
sincere
实现扩
gratitude
员以
to
来
you
举
all.
办的
The Qingdao Summit
首次峰
is
会，
the SCO's first summit
具有
since
承
its
前启后
enlargement
的重要
last
意义。
year. It is an important occasion
首先，我
to
们欢
review the
迎
past and usher in the future.
印度
Let us
总理
welcome Mr.
莫迪
Narendra
先生
Modi, Prime Minister of
巴
India,
基斯坦
and
总
Mr.
统侯赛因
Mr.
先生
Mamnoon Hussain, President
首次以
of
成员国领
Pakistan,
导人身
who
份
are joining us
出席
for the
峰会。
first time as heads of SCO member states.
相信在我们的共
I
同努力
believe
下，
With joint
本
efforts,
次峰会一定会取
the
得
Qingdao Summit
圆满
will
成功。
be a full success.
根据议程，
According to the agenda,
今天的会议
the heads
首
of
先请各
member
成员国
states
领导人
and heads of
和上海合作
SCO
组织
permanent bodies will
常
speak
设
first,
机构负责人发言。之后，
and then
请观察员国元首
we、shall hear the remarks
联合国
from the heads of
常务
observer
副秘书
states
长发言。
and Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations.
最后，请各成员国领导人出
Lastly,
席
the leaders of the
签
member
字仪
states
式，
shall attend the document's
并共同
signing
会见
ceremony
记者。
and jointly meet the press.
下面呢，请允许我首
Now let me
先
deliver
代
my
表
remarks
中方发言。
on behalf of China.
尊敬的各位同事，
Dear colleagues,
再过5天，
in 5 days,
上海合作组织
the SCO will celebrate
将迎来
its 17th birthday.
17岁生日。抚今追昔，
It is an
本
occasion
组织走过
for
了
us
不
to
平凡
review
的发展历
our
程，
organization's
取得
remarkable
了
journey
重大成就。
and important achievements.
17年来，
Over the past
我们以
17
上海
years,
合作组织宪
guided
章、
by the SCO Charter
上海合作组
and the
织成
Treaty
员国
on
长
Long-Term
期
Good
睦邻友好
Neighborliness,
合作条约
Friendship
被
and
遵循
Cooperation between the member
构
states
建
of
起
the
不结
SCO,
盟、
we have
不对抗、
forged a
不针对第三
constructive
方的
partnership
建设性伙伴
featuring
关系。
non-alliance, non-confrontation, and not targeting
这是
any
国
third
际关系
party.
理论和实践
In
的
doing so,
重大
we
创
have
新。
achieved a major
开
breakthrough
创了
in the
区域
theories
合
and
作新模式，
practices of international relations,
为地区和
created
平
a
与发
new
展
model
做出了
for
新贡
regional
献。
cooperation, and made new contribution
今天
to peace and development in our region.
上海合作组织是世
Today,
界上
the SCO
幅员
stands
最广
as a comprehensive regional
人口
Cooperation Organization that covers the largest area and population in the world.
成员国的经济和人口
Its
总量
members
分别约占
account for
全球的
about
20%
20% of the global economy and 40% of its
上海
population.
合作组织拥有
The SCO has
4个观察
4
员国
observer states
6
and
个
6
对话伙伴
dialogue partners,
并同联合国等国
as
际
well
和
as
地区组织
extensive
建立了
cooperation
广泛的
linkages
合
with
作
the
关系
United Nations and other international and regional organizations. With its ever-rising international influence, the SCO has become an important force for promoting global peace and development and upholding international
上海
justice
合
and
作组织
fairness.
始终保持
The
旺盛
SCO
生命力
enjoys strong vitality and
强劲合作
momentum
动力
of cooperation.
根本原因
This, in the final
在于它
analysis,
创造性的
is
提出并
attributed
始终践行
to the Shanghai spirit,
主张互信
a creative
互利
vision
平等
initiated
协
and
商
followed through by the
尊重
SCO
多样文
that
明
champions mutual trust,
谋求
mutual
共同发展
benefit, equality consultation, respect
超越了
for
文明冲突
diversity of civilizations
冷
and
战
pursuit of
思维
common development.
零和
The
博
Shanghai
弈等
spirit,
陈旧观
transcending
念
outdated concepts
掀开了国
such
际
as
关系
clash
史
of civilizations,
崭新的
Cold
一页
War, and zero-sum
得到
mentality
国际社会
has
日益
opened
广
a new
泛的
page
认
in the history of international relations and gained increasing
各位同事
endorsement of the international community. Dear
孔子
colleagues,
登
Mencius,
东山而
another
小鲁
ancient Chinese philosopher,
登泰山
observed
而
when
小天下
Confucius looks down from the peak of Dongshan Mountain,
面对
the
世界
local
大发展
kingdom of Lu comes
大
into
变革
view. When he
大
looks
调
down
整
from the
新
peak
形
of
势
Mount Tai, the whole land comes
为
into
更好
view.
推进人类
As
进
the
步
world is
文明
undergoing
进步
major
事业
development,
我们
transformation,
必
and
须
adjustment,
登高望
we
远
must stand high, look far,
正确
and
认识和
keep
把握
pace
世界
with
大势
the underlying
和
trend
时代
of
潮
the
流
world and our times.
尽管
To push for
当
more
今
progress of
世
human
界霸权
civilization.
主义
While
和
hegemony
强权
and power
政治
politics
依
still
然
persist
存在
in this world, the growing
但推
call
动
for
国际
a
秩
more
序朝
just
着
and
更加
equitable
公正
international
合理方向
order
发展的
must
呼
be
声
heeded.
不容忽视。国际关系民主化
Greater
已成为
democracy
不可阻挡的时代潮流。
in international relations has become
尽管
an
各种
unstoppable
传
trend
统和
of the
非传统
times.
安全威胁
While traditional and
不断
non-traditional
涌现
security threats keep
但
emerging,
捍卫
the
和
force
平
for
的力量
peace will
终
prevail.
将战胜破坏和平的势力。安全稳定
For
是
security
人心
and
所向。
stability are what people long for.
尽管单边主义和
While
保护贸易
unilateralism,
保护主
trade
义
protectionism,
逆全球化
and
思潮
backlash against
不断有新的表
globalization
现
are taking new forms.
但地球村的世界
In this
决
global
定了
village of
各国
ours,
日益
where countries'
交融
interests
命运
and
与共
future are so
合作共
interconnected,
赢
the
是
pursuit
大
of
势所趋
cooperation for mutual benefit represents a surging
尽
trend.
管文明冲突、
While we keep hearing
文
such
化优越
rhetoric
等论调，
as the clash of civilizations or the superiority of one
但文明多
civilization
样性
over another,
是人类进
it
步
is the
的不解
diversity of civilizations
不同文
that
明交
sustains
流
human
互鉴
progress.
是各国
Indeed,
人民共同
mutual
愿望
learning between different cultures is a shared
各位同事
aspiration of all peoples.
当前
Dear
世界
colleagues,
发展既充
the
满希
world
望，
today faces
也面临
both
挑战。
opportunities and
我
challenges.
们的未来
The road
无
ahead,
比光明，
bumpy as it
但
may
前
be,
方的道路，
will lead
不会
to
平坦。
a promising future.
我们要进一步弘扬
We
上
should
海
stay
精神，
committed to the
破
Shanghai
解时代
spirit,
难题，
surmount difficulties,
化解风险
defuse
挑战
risks, and meet challenges head on.
我们要倡导
We should uphold
创新、
innovative,
协调、
coordinated,
绿色、
green,
开
open,
放、
and
共享的发展
inclusive
观，
development,
实现各国
achieve
经济社会协
coordinated
同
social
进
and economic progress of
步，解决
various
发展
countries,
不平衡带来
and
的
resolve
问题，
issues caused by
缩小
unbalanced
发展
development.
差距。
We should
促
bridge
进
the gap in
共同繁
development
荣
and promote shared prosperity.
我们要践行
We should
共
pursue
同
common,
综合
comprehensive,
合作
cooperative, and
和持续的安全观
sustainable security.
摒弃
We should reject
冷战思维
the Cold War mentality
集团对
and
抗，
confrontation between
反
blocs
对以牺牲别国
and
安全
oppose the practices of seeking absolute security of oneself at the expense of others. This is a sure way to achieve security
我们要
of
秉持
all.
开放、
We should promote open and inclusive cooperation for win-win outcomes. We should reject self-centered, short-sighted, and closed-door policies. We should uphold WTO rules and support the multilateral trading system so as to build an open world economy.
We should champion equality, mutual learning, dialogue, and inclusiveness between cultures. It is important that we overcome cultural misunderstanding through exchanges, overcome cultural clash through mutual learning, and overcome cultural supremacy with coexistence. We should embrace extensive consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits in global governance. We should reform and improve the global governance system and work with all other countries to build a community with a shared future for mankind. Dear colleagues, the Shanghai spirit is our shared asset, and the SCO is our shared home. We should, guided by the Shanghai spirit, work closely to build an SCO community with a shared future, move toward a new type of international relations, and build an open, inclusive, clean, and beautiful world that enjoys lasting peace, universal security, and common prosperity. To this end, I would like to propose the following. First, we need to build up strength of unity and mutual trust. We should ensure full implementation of the Qingdao Declaration, the outline for the implementation of the Treaty on Long-Term Good Neighborliness, Friendship and Cooperation, and other documents. We should respect each other's choice of development paths and accommodate each other's core interests and major concerns. We should enhance mutual understanding by putting ourselves in others' positions and boost harmony and unity by seeking common ground and setting aside differences. This will enhance the cohesion and appeal of our organization. Second, we need to strengthen the foundation for shared peace and security. We need to actively implement the 2019 to 2021 Program of Cooperation for combating terrorism, separatism, and extremism, continue to conduct the peace mission and other joint counterterrorism exercises, and enhance cooperation on defense security, law enforcement security, and information security. We need to give full play to the role of the SCO Afghanistan Contact Group to facilitate peace and reconstruction in Afghanistan. In the next 3 years, through China National Institute for SCO International Exchange and Judicial Cooperation and other platforms, China offers to train 2,000 law enforcement officers for all parties to enhance law enforcement capacity building. Third, we need to build a powerful engine to achieve common development and prosperity. We should increase complementarity of our respective development strategies, and under the principle of delivering shared benefits through extensive consultation and joint contribution, continue to advance the Belt and Road development, accelerate regional trade facilitation, and step up the implementation of the Agreement on International Road Transport Facilitation and other cooperation documents. China will welcome all parties to the first China International Import Expo to be held in Shanghai in November this year.
中国政府支持在青岛
The Chinese
建设
government
中国
supports
上海合作组织地方经贸合作示
the
范区
opening of a demonstration area in Qingdao for China SCO local economic and trade cooperation and will set up a committee of legal services for SCO member states to provide legal support for business cooperation.
我宣布
In this connection,
中方将在
I
上海合作
hereby
组织银
announce
行
that China will, within the framework of the SCO Interbank
300
Consortium,
亿元
set
人民
up
币
an
等值
RMB
专项贷
30
款
billion equivalent special lending facility.
第四，拉紧
Fourth,
人文交流合作的
We
共
need
同纽带。
to forge closer ties through
我们要
cultural
积
and
极落
people-to-people
实成员
exchanges.
国环保
We
合
should
作构想
actively
等文件
implement the outline for
继续办
environmental
好
protection
青年交流
cooperation
营
and
等
other
品
documents,
牌项目
ensure the continued
扎实
success
推
of
动
such well-recognized
教育
programs as the
科技
Youth Exchange Camp
文化
and
旅
secure
游卫生减灾媒体
solid
各领域
progress
合作
in cooperation in education, science and technology, culture, tourism, health, disaster relief, and media. In the next 3 years, China will provide 3,000 training opportunities for human resources development of SCO member states to enhance public understanding of and support for the SCO family.
风云2
China
号
offers
气象卫星
to
为各方
provide
提供
meteorological service to all parties using its Fengyun 2 weather
第五
satellites. Fifth,
共同拓展国际合
we
作
need
的
to expand partnership
伙伴网络。
networks of
我们
international
要强化
cooperation
同观察员国
by intensifying
对话伙伴等
exchanges
地区
and
国家交流
cooperation
合
with
作
SCO
密切同
observer
联合国
states,
等国际的
dialogue
地区
partners,
组织
and
的
our
伙伴关系
and other countries in our
同国
region
际货币
by
基金
enhancing
组织
partnerships with the
世界
UN
银
and
行
other
等国际
international
金融
and
机构
regional
开
organizations,
展对话
and by engaging in dialogue
为
with
推
the
动化解
International
热点
Monetary
问题
Fund,
完
the
善
World
全球
Bank,
治
and
理
other international
做出贡献
financial institutions, we can contribute our share to resolving hotspot issues and improving global
在
governance.
各成员国大力支
Dear
持和帮
colleagues,
助下
thanks to the support
China
and
完成了
assistance of
主席
all
国
the
会
other SCO member states over the past year, China has
在这里，我向
completed
大家
its
表示
SCO
诚挚的
presidency
谢意。
and hosted this
双
summit.
方愿同
Here,
各
I
成员
wish to
国一
express
道
my sincere thanks
本
to
着
you
积极
all.
务实
China will
友好合
maintain
作的精神
active,
全面落实本
practical,
次会议的
and
共
friendly
识
cooperation with other
支持
SCO
下
member
一任
states
主席
to
国
ensure the full
吉尔吉斯斯坦
implementation of the
工作
consensus at this summit
携手创
and
造
support
本组织
Kyrgyzstan in its
更加
SCO
光明的
presidency. Let us join hands to create an even brighter
谢谢大家，
future for
我
the
就
SCO. Thank
说
you.
这些。
That is my statement.
下面啊，
I now
请印度共
give
和
the
国
floor
总理莫迪
to
先生
Prime
发言。
Minister Modi of India.
पीपल्स रिपब्लिक ऑफ चाइना के राष्ट्रपति तथा इस सत्र के अध्यक्ष
President of the People's Republic of China and the chair of this session, His Excellency Mr. Xi Jinping, Excellencies, friends, ladies and gentlemen.
सदस्य के रूप में
I am extremely pleased to represent India here at the SCO summit for the first time as a full member.
इस संगठन की भूमिका को
We attach great importance to the last 1 year in understanding well the role of this organization and the opportunities to contribute to it that we got in the last 1 year.
हजारों साल से पूरी
For
दुनिया
thousands
के
of
लिए
years, the geographical region represented by the SCO has been a source for inspiration for physical, scientific, philosophical, spiritual, and cultural progress for the whole world. Gautam Buddha and Confucius, Emperor Ashoka, and the Tang dynasty, Samarkand and Bukhara, Nalanda and Takshila, Hyunsang and Kashyap Matang, Al-Biruni and Aryabhat, Mahatma Gandhi and Tolstoy, Rumi and Kalidas. There are countless great people who have nourished the minds of mankind all over the world, just like the Ganges and the Volga nourished its people. The fragrance of these flowers of our shared legacy fill the air everywhere in the world, because thousands of years ago, our ancestors filled geographical distances with the bridges of communication and cooperation. Today, once again, we are at a stage where physical and digital connectivity is changing the definition of geography. And this is the reason why connectivity in the SCO region and with our neighboring countries is a priority for India. We welcome such new connectivity projects that are inclusive, sustainable, and transparent, and those that respect the sovereignty and regional integrity of nations. Our commitment in this region is visible in our active participation in prominent projects like the International North-South Transport Corridor, Chabahar Port Development, and the Ashgabat Agreement. The history of our region is witness to the fact that connectivity does not merely mean physical communication. The human side is equally important. Hence, people-to-people relations and exchange of ideas should be matters of equal priority for us. That is why we welcome initiatives such as SCO, Our Common Home, and Days of Open Doors. I appreciate the efforts towards the SCO Film Festival and the SCO Work Heritage Exhibition started under the presidency of China, which is aimed at better mutual communication. Out of the foreign visitors to India, only 6% are from SCO state. This number can easily be doubled. Awareness regarding our shared and prosperous legacy can increase tourism between the SCO countries. And for this, we plan to organize an SCO food festival and a shared Buddhist heritage exhibition in India. That is why India has always given priority to cooperation for development in its relations with other countries. We have always given special focus to skill development, capacity building, and human resource development.
Thus, we'll be very happy to cooperate with other SCO countries, especially those in Central Asia, either at the bilateral level or within the SCO framework, in different areas such as organic farming, dairy and animal husbandry, soil testing, water conservation, agricultural education, and agro-processing. Pharmaceuticals could be another area of cooperation so that other countries can benefit from India's capabilities in providing good, effective, and affordable medicines and medical facilities, medical and wellness tourism, information technology, finance and management, space applications such as resource mapping, building nanosatellites and launching them through the Indian space vehicle. And for this, cooperation with university students from SCO countries, training for personnel from SCO countries in the field of petrochemical engineering, and cooperation in areas of advanced environment protection technologies, renewable and clean energy, and energy efficiency, and within the framework of the International Solar Alliance. Excellencies, I would like to touch upon another important subject. The situation in Afghanistan is the unfortunate example of terrorism and extremism in our common region. I hope that all parties will respect the sentiment with which President Ghani has once again taken the courageous step for peace. It is our common responsibility to ensure that the causes that had threatened Afghanistan's unity, integrity, sovereignty, diversity, and democracy in the past will not be repeated. India will play a constructive and active role in the contact group established for Afghanistan under the auspices of SCO. Excellencies, security is our top priority. In order to ensure comprehensive security in our region, I believe there are 6 dimensions. These can be summed up in the English word secure, S-E-C-U-R-E as an acronym, wherein S stands for security of our citizens, E stands for economic development for all, C is connecting the region, U is unite our people, R stands for respect for sovereignty and integrity, E stands for environment protection. I believe that it is only through meaningful cooperation in this direction that SCO will become a safe and connected organization. Excellencies, I wish to congratulate Kyrgyzstan for assuming the chairmanship of the SCO in the coming year, and I would also like to assure it that we will continue to provide our full support. This is our 18th summit. I would like to request you that the 25th SCO summit, when we will be celebrating the silver jubilee of our organization, that we should, for this purpose, we should already set ourselves some goals, and for the 25th summit, we should have achieved those goals. We can perhaps set up a small committee which can prepare a roadmap, and within a time-bound framework, we should be able to successfully achieve the goals that we set ourselves for the 25th summit. I would like to thank our host, President Xi, once again for the successful organization and for his warm welcome and hospitality. Excellencies, my best wishes for the sacred month of Ramadan and the upcoming festival of Eid. In this connection, I wish for peace, prosperity, and goodwill in our region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Modi. Since India joined the SCO, it has been fully involved in relevant cooperation mechanisms, and it has been reaching out to member states for cooperation, bringing fresh opportunities for the organization. We highly commend India's contribution and efforts. Next, I will invite President Nazarbayev of Kazakhstan to take the floor. Your Excellency, President Xi Jinping, distinguished heads of SCO member states, ladies and gentlemen, first, I would like to thank President Xi Jinping for the warm hospitality, and I want to thank China for its excellent arrangements for this SCO summit. I believe this SCO summit held after the enlargement of SCO in Astana summit will be a full success and help promote SCO's development. Dear colleagues, for my speech, I would like to talk about some cooperation priorities. First, the strategic priorities of the SCO shall remain on political dialogue for greater political mutual trust and development of the organization. We therefore support the action plan to implement the long-term good neighborliness, friendship and cooperation of SCO members. This is a fundamental document crucial for other development priorities in our organization. The action plan for 2018 to 2022 that we will sign for today will serve as a roadmap for our cooperation going forward. Second, we need to tap into the potential of SCO member states to enhance economic cooperation. In this regard, there is a vast potential. What is important is to ensure good implementation of trade and investment projects and expand them from bilateral to multilateral projects. We also support the initiative about financial modernization. We must fully leverage the role of SCO Business Council and Interbank Consortium. In his remarks, President Xi Jinping stressed the importance of enhancing people-to-people and cultural exchanges, and Prime Minister Modi also raised important proposals in this regard. I think the Secretariat should summarize what they have proposed. Certainly, nowadays, many people are talking about the emergence of strategic currency and currency baskets. We therefore need to discuss the matter of local currency settlement in SCO member states. I think after the Qingdao summit, the central banks of the member states can have a meeting and formulate the related roadmap. Fourthly, given the fourth industrial revolution, the digital revolution and technological revolution are very real. I think it's important for us to set up a platform for communication on this front. Fifthly, the infrastructure connectivity projects can help enhance the economic development of SCO member states that will also help promote job creation. For instance, in Beijing, Astana, Moscow, Berlin, high-speed railway is a typical example of such cooperation. Such cooperation is very important for us. Projects like this one can help build up the synergy of cooperation between SCO and Eurasian Economic Union. And sixthly, at the 2017, we launched Astana International Financial Center. This center is already operational. The center will add new impetus to Kazakhstan's economic development and also help promote economic development of SCO member states. I therefore invite the business communities, the industrial sectors to make full use of this Astana International Financial Center. Seventhly, our people-to-people and scientific and technology cooperation is thriving. Last year in Beijing, at the Belt and Road Forum for Economic Cooperation, I proposed a suggestion for such cooperation. Now, over 30 scientific institutions have signed this document. Kazakhstan has also been enhancing harmonious coexistence of various religions and is contributing our part to inter-civilizational dialogue. We attach great importance to a related high-level conference to be held in this October in Astana. Its theme is about to enhance religious harmony and peaceful coexistence. Dear colleagues, our position concerning international and regional hotspot issues remain unchanged. Kazakhstan is committed to peace, stability, and development of Afghanistan. Over the years, we've been providing financial support to Afghanistan. We also hosted the related peace process, and we will stay following the situation in Syria. We have launched the Astana peace process on the Syrian issue. It has proved that we have played an important part on this regard. Kazakhstan advocates for peaceful means to realize complete denuclearization on the Korean Peninsula. Kazakhstan always supports the Jcpoa and has contributed our part to its signing. We will stay committed to the implementation of this Jcpoa. Distinguished colleagues, Kazakhstan is firmly committed to the principles of the SCO Charter, and we are making every effort to help enhance political mutual trust and good neighborliness between SCO member states. Over the years, the Shanghai spirit has been an important driving force for SCO cooperation. China has done a good job in serving as the rotating president of the SCO. Let me take this opportunity to wish Kyrgyzstan, the upcoming rotating president, every success. Thank you.
Thank
you, President Nazarbayev, for your remarks. Kazakhstan was one of the founding members of the SCO. It has made important contribution to the development of the organization. This Qingdao summit is important because it's the first one after the SCO admitted India and Pakistan. But we need to think about those early days of our organization, and that will always remind us of the contribution of Kazakhstan. It's been 17 years that the SCO has been established. I look around the table, I see three leaders who were here with us in the founding of the SCO, President Nazarbayev, President Putin, and President Rahmon. We should express our high regard to you. Our next speaker is President Zhambekov of Kyrgyzstan.
Your Excellency, President Xi Jinping, colleagues, at the outset, I wish to thank President Xi and China for hosting such an excellent Qingdao summit and for the warm hospitality accorded to all of us. I also wish to welcome Prime Minister Modi and President Hossein for attending the summit for the first time as heads of full member states. This summit is a new starting point for us, with the admittance of India and Pakistan. Now our organization has become the largest organization that covers 60% of the territory and over 30% of the population. The SCO has gone from strength to strength, and its responsibilities on its shoulder are also much bigger. In the financial, economic, and legal dimensions, we have identified the future course of this organization. Now the international environment is quite complex. That has implications for state-to-state relations and for this organization. The SCO should play its bigger role in upholding regional peace and stability. It should help us to better address the 21st century challenges and problems. We hope that member states will coordinate positions on pressing international issues. Now, Central Asia, with its own political importance and geographical advantage, is receiving higher attention. In the meantime, we're also facing some challenges threatening our security. One of them is the instability in Afghanistan. We're all close neighbors of Afghanistan, and we cannot stand by idly. We support the Afghan government and people in restoring peace, maintaining stability, combating terrorism, extremism, and separatism, and in upholding security. Kyrgyzstan stands ready to work with others to implement the series of agreements on agricultural, transport infrastructure, and other areas of cooperation. We have taken an active part in Central and South Asia electricity power line. Now, work is well underway. It's almost completed. We would like to work with Tajikistan to export power or electricity to Afghanistan. Given what's happening in the Middle East, peace and stability of our region is all the more important. In recent years, with the crises in Syria, Iraq, and the instability in Afghanistan, some terrorists are returning to this region and are resurfacing. We should never allow them to come back to Central Asia. So it's important that we take concrete steps within the SCO framework to prevent their return. In this regard, Kyrgyzstan welcomes the 2019 to 2021 program of cooperation on combating terrorism, separatism, and extremism. Dear colleagues, a peaceful solution is the only way out of the Syrian crisis. We stand by the UN's role, important role in facilitating peace in this regard. Dear colleagues, for the SCO to grow further, we need to have greater business cooperation among the member states. That's one of the priorities of our cooperation. In economic infrastructure and other areas of business cooperation, we need to work even harder. We may study the setting up of a special agricultural technology park using the state-of-the-art deep processing technologies. Kyrgyzstan believes that we should set up a financing cooperation mechanism, including a development bank and development fund of the SCO. We may also discuss the possibility of having the headquarters of the SCO bank in Kyrgyzstan. We should seek greater synergy between the Belt and Road Initiative and the Eurasian Economic Union. We attach great importance to the early entry into force of the Transportation Facility Agreement of the SCO member states, and we should adopt the road development plans. We hope for the early construction of China, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan road connection that will greatly facilitate road transport among our countries. We also need to boost subnational cooperation and support the first SCO Local Leaders Forum in Russia this year. In ICT, it's also important that we share experience and learn from each other and promote the most advanced technologies. We also need to preserve ecology among our member states to bring benefits to our future generations. We welcome the environmental protection concept in this connection. At our last meeting, Kyrgyzstan hosted a high-level meeting on the spent fuel of uranium and relevant minerals. We hope at the UN meetings such cooperation will be advanced and relevant resolutions will be adopted. Dear colleagues, people-to-people and cultural cooperation is crucial for boosting mutual understanding among our peoples. So it's important that we deepen exchanges among our youth and host events that can be participated by the general public. The World Nomad Games, sports games, is very important. It will be held from September the 2nd to the 8th in Kyrgyzstan. The third of such sports games will be held in Kyrgyzstan. There will be related folk culture exhibition and research projects. I would invite you to send delegations to that interesting sports games. Dear colleagues, Kyrgyzstan applauds China's efforts as the chair of the SCO. China has hosted a lot of wonderful events which have helped to deepen our cooperation. And China has also deepened our cooperation on new mechanisms. Kyrgyzstan, after this summit, will take over the chairmanship for 2018 to 2019, and we will do whatever we can to contribute to the organization's growth. During our chairmanship, we will continue to work to deepen the political mutual trust and carry out fruitful practical cooperation. We will host the next summit on June the 14th and 15th in Bishkek next year. We will follow through on the 2025 action plan and other documents. It's important that we deepen economic cooperation and implement key investment projects. We should advance the building of SCO Development Bank and Development Fund and facilitate transportation among us. We'll continue to support the Belt and Road development and greater connectivity among us. We hope to speed up the building of China, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan railway. We should make good use of the local leaders' meeting to carry out a multi-party cooperation. Combating separatism, terrorism and extremism, drug crimes, and transnational organized crimes is also one of our priorities. So it's important that we have confidence-building measures along the border. Once again, I wish to reaffirm that Kyrgyzstan will follow the values of the SCO and carry forward the Shanghai spirit. Thank you. Thank you, President Jcpoa, for your remarks. Since, Mr. President, you took office, you have paid high attention to the SCO cooperation. China applauds that. In your remarks, you put forward many ideas in deepening our cooperation and advancing the organization's future growth. We can further study them, and China will give firm support for the 19th SCO summit. Now I will invite President Hussein of Pakistan to make
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellency Mr. Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, Honorable Heads of State of SCO member and observer states, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. The lands along the ancient Silk Route have a unique blend of politics, economy, society, and culture. These lands are realms of majestic mountains, singing rivers, vast deserts, and ancient epic tales, and are known for their ethnic and linguistic diversity. Throughout history, this huge multilingual, multi-ethnic and multicultural population has been sharing similar perspectives and values. Today, the amazing blue coast of Qingdao stands witness to the renewed heights of common ideals and action displayed by those countries. This unique gathering of a community believing in the Shanghai spirit allows its participants to freely share their ideas with each other. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank the Chinese people, government, and His Excellency President Xi Jinping for organizing this important and multi-purpose summit. Their warm welcome and hospitality have made SCO leaders feel at home and afforded us an opportunity to focus our attention on important discussions on regional security and prosperity. In order to mark this momentous occasion, Pakistan has issued a special commemorative postage stamp. Ladies and gentlemen, SCO occupies a unique place among international organizations established for regional security and prosperity. Within a short span, it has become a platform for exemplary interstate and people-to-people cooperation in the fields of economy, trade, regional security, connectivity, and sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, peace and stability in Afghanistan is a shared concern of SCO member states. We believe this is only possible through an Afghan-led and Afghan-owned peace process. The reactivation of SCO's contact group of Afghanistan is a welcome step. For its part, Pakistan will continue to lend full support for promotion of peace and reconciliation in Afghanistan. We have welcomed President Ghani's initiative for unconditional offer of peace talks to the Taliban and his offer of ceasefire, which has been reciprocated. This is a positive development. I am pleased to inform that Pakistan has embarked on a bilateral action plan for peace, security and stability with Afghanistan. We hope that these efforts will bear fruit and contribute to peace. SCO's regional anti-terrorism structure is an expression of our concerns on extremism and terrorism. We appreciate the progress of this forum towards its stated goals. Drug trafficking is also a serious challenge. I believe that the adoption of decisions on this issue at today's summit is a great achievement, and its implementation would contribute to our efforts to control the menace of illicit drugs in the region. 2 years ago, when Pakistan signed its Memorandum of Obligations to SCO, our responsibilities promptly increased. I'm pleased to inform that we have been successful in meeting these responsibilities in a timely manner. This could not have been possible without the complete and unwavering support of our fellow SCO member states, SCO Secretary General, and the Director of the Executive Committee of SCO RATS. Improvement of law and order situation in Pakistan over the past few years has provided a secure environment for investment and business. Contrary to the global economic trends, Pakistan's economy has achieved great economic successes, resulting in reduced inflation and with growth in all sectors, including energy production. GDP growth rate in this year has been the highest in the past decade. International financial institutions have noted this positive performance. Similarly, our agriculture and services sectors have shown robust growth. Pakistan has been ranked first in the region and fifth at the global level as a destination for private investment in infrastructure development. our strategic location, access to the Indian Ocean, and huge consumer market has further enhanced these opportunities. Our success has been bolstered by the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor and participation in Central Asian regional connectivity projects like TAPI and CASA 1000. We expect the upward trajectory in our growth rate to continue. In order to take full advantage of these opportunities, the government is developing industrial zones in different areas of Pakistan to enhance industrial productivity and provide economic stability. In the past few years, democratic institutions and values have strengthened in Pakistan. These days, the nation is engaged in electoral process. We hope that completion of this process will further enhance political and economic stability, which will have a positive impact on the region. Mr. Chairman, the natural, human and technical strengths of SCO countries, coupled with our progress in different fields, provide new opportunities for accelerating our collective prosperity. The clear vision and cooperation of SCO leaders can usher in a new and just international economic system. I am confident that these objectives can be achieved through SCO initiatives on investment promotion, trade and customs facilitation, e-commerce, small and medium enterprises, rail and road connectivity, and tourism development. Once materialized, these initiatives will help in economic growth of the region and raise the living standards of our people. To realize these dreams, we would have to clearly define our priorities and establish specific timelines. Mr. Chairman, as an active member of SCO, Pakistan proposes the following 5 priorities for the development and prosperity of our region. First, trust building is pivotal to achieving lasting peace and stability in the region. This will also help generate economic activity and enhance regional trade. Second, developmental projects should not be viewed through a myopic geopolitical angle. We should wholeheartedly support all regional development and connectivity projects, including the Belt and Road Initiative and its flagship project, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Number 3, by resolutely following the guiding principles of Shanghai spirit of shared development and prosperity, we can alleviate poverty, support weaker economies of the region, and combat terrorism and extremism. SCO, Development Bank and Fund can contribute to this endeavor. SCO Business Council would help promote business-to-business contacts in various sectors. Similarly, we should explore the possibility of introducing an SCO visa regime for businessmen. Finally, we should initiate special programs for skill development of youth and take concrete steps in promoting meaningful people-to-people contacts, especially among the youth. Mr. Chairman, we remain confident that we, the nations of SCO family, historically known for our valor, intelligence and prudence, will stand shoulder to shoulder against contemporary global challenges. As a member of this family, Pakistan will continue to play its role for regional peace and prosperity. May God protect us all.
I want to thank President Hussein for his remarks. Since joining the SCO officially, Pakistan has been an active participant of cooperation in various areas and has coordinated very closely with other member states. We appreciate Pakistan's active involvement. Now I'll invite President Putin of Russia to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, dear colleagues. I share the view expressed by other colleagues that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is developing successfully. After India's and Pakistan's accession to SCO, whose leaders take part for the first time here today as full-fledged members of SCO, our organization has become even stronger, has broadened its borders and capacities. I would emphasize that priority in cooperation within the SCO is combating terrorism. The program on countering terrorism, separatism and extremism that we adopt today outlines the main guidelines for cooperation in this sphere for the next 3 years. It envisages joint exercises and counter-terrorism operations and a closer exchange of expertise and operational information. We hope that SCO Youth Council will be actively involved in the efforts aimed at preventing the involvement of young people in terrorism activities. SCO priorities also include assistance in political and diplomatic settlement of conflicts next to SCO member states' borders. The situation in Afghanistan requires our special importance. I agree with those colleagues who have already mentioned it. It is important to jointly combat the terrorist threat proceeding from Afghanistan. We need to curb production and transit of drugs. We should assist Afghanistan in national reconciliation, economic recovery and stabilization. Significant results in combating terrorism have been achieved in Syria. Thanks to concerted efforts by Russia and the Syrian government, Iran, Turkey and other partners, and including Kazakhstan, terrorist activity in this country was crushed, thus paving the way for political settlement. I would like to underscore, dear colleagues, that the government of Syria controls today the territory with 90% of Syrian population. Damascus abides by agreements achieved by the Congress of Syrian National Dialogue in Sochi in January. Damascus has sent proposals on the composition of participants of the Constitution Committee to prepare Syria's new fundamental law. Thus, dear colleagues, the government of Syria fully meets its obligations and has demonstrated its willingness to have a political dialogue. Now it's up to opposition. The ball is in its court. Well, of course, our countries cannot but be worried about the developments around the Iran's nuclear program. U.S. withdrawal from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action can further destabilize the situation. Russia is in favor of consistent and unconditional implementation of Jcpoa. On our behalf, we'll continue meeting all of our obligations. The problem of the Korean Peninsula has a significant impact on the security situation in the SCO space. We are positive about the willingness of Pyongyang, Seoul, and Washington to achieve a comprehensive settlement of crisis through dialogue and talks in line with the roadmap proposed by Russia and China. Within the SCO, we should continue providing assistance to normalize the situation in the region. Russia welcomes the forthcoming summit between the US and North Korea and would also like to underscore great contribution of the People's Republic of China into resolution of crisis on the Korean Peninsula. Dear colleagues, an important area of SCO's work is developing mutually beneficial economic ties between our states. Trade and investments are growing. We facilitate joint access of goods and services. We improve customs clearance, eliminate excessive administrative barriers. We launch joint projects in energy, transport, agriculture. Efforts are taken to harmonize integration initiatives of our countries. Agreement on cooperation between the Eurasian Economic Union and China was signed in Astana in May. It is important to take other steps aimed at boosting coordination when implementing trade, investment, and infrastructure projects through the Eurasian Economic Union and Chinese initiative One Belt, One Road. Russia and China are also preparing draft agreement on Eurasian Economic Partnership, which will definitely be open for all SCO member states. Taking advantage of this opportunity, I would like to invite the representatives of your countries to participate in the first meeting of heads of regions of SCO member states and in the Forum of Small Business of SCO and BRICS member states that are to take place in the Russian Federation. Dear colleagues, the term of SCO Secretary General and Director of the Executive Committee of ROTS is coming to an end. I would like to express gratitude to our colleagues for their efficient work, and I would also like to wish success to their successors. To conclude, I would like to once again thank Mr. President, Mr. Xi Jinping, and all of our Chinese friends for warm and cordial hospitality, and congratulate China on successful presidency in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Today, Kyrgyzstan is taking over the presidency. Our Kyrgyz friends can count on our full cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, President Putin, for your remarks. In our restricted meeting, you talked about many proposals for cooperation. In your speech right now, you expounded on important positions on SCO's development and international and regional hotspot issues. It's important for us to enhance communication and coordination, and therefore provide more support to regional countries in upholding security and promoting prosperity. Our next speaker, Mr. Rahmon, President of Tajikistan.
Уважаемый господин председатель, уважаемые коллеги,
Your
прежде всего
Excellency,
выражаю искреннюю
Mr.
признательность
Chairman,
председателю
dear
Китайской
colleagues,
Народной Республики
first of all,
господину Си
I want to
Цзиньпину
express
за
my
высокий
heartfelt
уровень организации
thanks
нашей встречи,
to President
традиционно
Xi
радушный
Jinping
прием и
for
оказанное
his
гостеприимство.
outstanding leadership
Таджикистан
in
высоко
chairing
оценивает
this summit.
результаты
We also thank the
председательства
Chinese
Китайской
side
Народной
for
Республики в ШОС.
the warm hospitality. We
Повестка
speak
дня
highly
нашего
of
заседания
China's
охватывает насущные
presidency
вопросы
of the
деятельности
SCO.
организации. Мы
This
поддерживаем
summit
поднятие
agenda
соответствующих
covers
решений.
all the important topics
Приветствуем
of the
участие на
SCO.
сегодняшнем
We
заседании
support the
уважаемых
adoption of the
коллег из
related
Индии и
documents.
Пакистана в качестве полноправных членов Совета глав
We also
государств ШОС.
welcome India and Pakistan, who are
Нам
attending
необходимо
this
последовательно
summit as
решать
full SCO
взаимосвязанные
members.
задачи,
Dear colleagues, we must work steadily to uphold regional security and strengthen economic cooperation and enhance connectivity. As we meet here today, there are various security challenges in the world. Tensions are building up in many different parts of the world. Therefore, we must resolve security issues. Parties concerned should strengthen practical cooperation to fight against terrorism and extremism, drug trafficking, extremist thoughts, and cybercrimes and cross-border crimes. Countries must enhance security and law enforcement coordination. We should also enhance cooperation under the framework of the regional anti-terrorism structure. Force alone cannot defeat terrorism. We must also pay attention to the root causes such as poverty and unemployment. We also need to work together to fight against drug trafficking. This has become one of the main financing channels for terrorism and extremism. Closer cooperation in this regard meets the trend of the times. Therefore, we would like to suggest establishment of a separate agency to deal with drug-related issues. We also need to formulate related document for cooperation in this regard. Regional peace and security is closely connected with the situation in Afghanistan. About 60% of the borders between the former Soviet Union countries and Afghanistan are in Tajikistan, and there are mountainous regions. Recently, Taliban has become more active in these border areas, and this could pose grave challenges to us all. Given all these factors, it's important for us to enhance cooperation and support Afghanistan in fighting against terrorism. We should make better use of the SCO Afghanistan contact group in enhancing cooperation on this front. We also need to support Afghanistan in promoting social and economic progress. We also believe that the future of Afghanistan should be decided by the people of Afghanistan. Tajikistan supports the related efforts for peace and reconciliation in Afghanistan. Dear colleagues, the international economic landscape still faces many uncertainties. In the SCO, therefore, we need to enhance economic cooperation, expand trade ties, and fully implement cooperation projects. The SCO cooperation should always be a priority in regional cooperation initiatives. We need to set up a united transportation system in the region. With this in mind, we need, first and foremost, implement those projects of upgrading roads and railways, build a regional transport corridor. As the region is unlocking its market potential, we also need to deepen cooperation in this area and promote interconnectivity. On climate change, we need to develop new energy. Tajikistan has rich water resources. More irrigation projects can help reduce pollution and greenhouse gas emission. This is very important and can help us deliver grain development. In terms of agriculture, we need to ensure food security, use innovative technologies to develop agriculture. We need to fully leverage the role of the SCO Business Council and Interbank Consortium. Tajikistan supports greater cooperation under the regional financial framework. We support setting up a specialized SCO financial institution. We also need to enhance people-to-people cooperation in an effort to bring our peoples closer. We also need to promote tourism cooperation. This will help stimulate domestic development and enhance people-to-people friendship. In this regard, Tajikistan has made its national strategy and designated this year a year of tourism in Tajikistan. In conclusion, I want to thank all parties for speaking highly of the work of Secretary General Alimov, who is from Tajikistan. The SCO institutions will have some new staff. We support the naming of Mr. Norov as the new Secretary General of the SCO Secretariat. We also support the designation of the new Director General of the Regional Anti-Terrorism Structure. We congratulate Kyrgyzstan for taking over the rotating presidency. Thank you. Mr. President Rahmon, I thank you for your remarks. Over the years, Tajikistan has proposed many good and constructive suggestions for SCO's development, making important contribution to the SCO's development. In your speech, you have further expounded on your views related to the issues concerned. We need to give them serious thinking. The next speaker, Mr. Mirgiyev, President of Uzbekistan.
Your Excellency, President Xi Jinping, distinguished heads of state and government, colleagues, on behalf of Uzbekistan, I wish to express sincere appreciation to President Xi for the warm hospitality and thoughtful arrangements. During China's chairmanship of the SCO, it has successfully hosted a lot of events and delivered fruitful outcomes. One of the most important outcomes is the 2018 to 2022 Treaty on Long-Term Good Neighborliness, Friendship and Cooperation to be adopted later today. This summit in the beautiful city of Qingdao is the first meeting of 8 leaders, of the leaders of 8 countries. This will be forever remembered in history, and we know the number 8 symbolizes prosperity and success in China. There is huge potential in SCO as it admits new members. It gained another population of 1.5 billion. The inclusion of India and Pakistan will offer new opportunities for deepened cooperation. The SCO has been an important mechanism in upholding security in the Eurasian continent and boosting development. We're convinced that the SCO will achieve even greater success. Dear colleagues, prosperity and stability in Central Asia is crucial for this organization's fulfillment of its mission and tasks. We're highly satisfied with the positive political environment in this regard. We have made substantive progress on resolving border, trade, water resources, and other issues. We're also facilitating peace and development in Afghanistan, which is essential for regional security. With your support, not long ago, the Tashkent Conference on Afghanistan was held. The conference calls for unconditional start of peace talks at an early date. We believe that within the SCO Afghanistan Contact Group, we will make even greater contributions to peace and stability in Afghanistan. Dear colleagues, within the SCO framework, we have come a long way, but the potential remains to be tapped. I suggest that we focus on the following areas. First, we need to increase the general public, especially the young people's immunity to terrorism and extremism. We have a joint appeal to youth, and the adoption of its implementation outline will help us in that regard. We appreciate your support on that initiative. We hope that the SCO Youth Council will take the lead in implementing that outline, and we will take an active part in that regard. I suggest that we develop and adopt a UN treaty or international treaty on the protection of the rights of youth. And second, we also need to step up business cooperation. Our trade with the other members, observer states, and dialogue partners grew by 1/3, or about 30%. We need to further facilitate trade and investment, and we support public-private partnership and establish an agricultural consortium. Third, we should make good use of and fully tap the transport potential in this region. Under the Belt and Road Initiative, it's important that we implement the transportation projects. We need the shortest route to the largest market in the world. Uzbekistan supports the building of Mazari Sharif and Jerat Railway. Uzbekistan is willing to host the Transport Authorities Leaders Meeting in this connection. We may also study the setting up of an SCO, International Transport and Logistics Union. Fourth, we need to work together to implement the programs of innovation. We should make good use of high technologies, digital economy, renewable energy, and modern medicine. We suggest that each year we hold an ICT and Innovation Development Forum with the participation of governments and the business community. Fifth, we can have practical cooperation with the World Tourism Organization. This is highly relevant. We suggest that setting up in Samarkand a Silk Road tourism university where the high-caliber talent in this field can teach and students can study tourism there. I also wish to express appreciation to the Secretary General of the SCO and Director of RUT. Once again, I wish to thank President Xi for hosting this historic summit, and thank you for your personal contribution. I also wish to congratulate Kyrgyzstan in taking over the chairmanship, and I wish your country great success in this glorious mission. Thank you. Thank you, President Mirziyoyev, for your remarks. Uzbekistan has offered a lot of good ideas for our cooperation. And our joint appeal to your youth was put forward by President Mirziyoyev, and that is a reflection of our high attention and care for young people, which is of strategic significance. Now I'll give the floor to Secretary General Alimov.
Благодарю вас, уважаемый господин Си Цзиньпин, уважаемые главы государств, уважаемые главы делегации, участники заседания. Вниманию Совета глав государств представлен доклад о деятельности ШОС за период председательства Китайской Народной Республики. Позвольте тезисно характеризовать основные достижения организации в этот период. Историческое решение о принятии Индии и Пакистана в качестве полноправных государств ШОС стало важным шагом на пути дальнейшего развития, укрепления и раскрытия неисчерпаемого потенциала организации. Энергия шанхайского духа
the enormous potential of this organization and infuse new vitality and positive energy to the Shanghai spirit. The SCO has been working to strengthen mutual understanding, mutual trust, and mutually beneficial cooperation, and we have seen fresh progress. Cooperation among 8 member states has boomed. Our social and economic cooperation is further expanded. In culture and education, the cooperation is going deeper and is more diversified. On women and youth, activities are also flourishing. The principles of the Shanghai spirit is fully discussed in terms of in relation to ICT. The purposes and principles of the SCO are more accepted and popular and well received. More countries, international organizations, including those outside this region, are seeking to build a closer relationship with the SCO. Based on the SCO Charter, the organization is working to bring greater democracy in international relations and to build a closer community of shared future. The SCO is involved in building a multipolar world and is playing a greater and more visible role in building an effective regional and international security architecture. The role of the SCO is indispensable. Over the past year, with the United Nations and its Secretariat, the SCAP and other organizations, our cooperation has been elevated. We have signed MOU with UNESCO, which will further cement our relationship with this special organization. With CIS, SICA, and CSTO, progress is made in our relationship. With ASEAN and other organizations, our partnership enjoys a bright prospect. From Astana to Qingdao, China's presidency has been going on for 365 days. Over 200 events have been held. which mark important contribution to the SCO. Now we have spanned 3 oceans, and we are home to almost half of the world's population. This means a lot for greater good neighborliness, friendship, and cooperation between countries. What is most important is that under the joint efforts from heads of states, the SCO has become the largest cross-region organization with the largest geographical coverage and international responsibility. The decisions to be adopted by this summit will usher in a new phase in the history of this organization with far-reaching implications. Heads of states, on 31st of December this year, my tenure will come to a conclusion. This is a special honor for me. It is a special responsibility. I am keenly aware of my responsibility to follow up on the major plans and decisions adopted by member states. Taking this opportunity, I want to thank all of you for the great trust you have placed in me and your strong support in my work. I also want to congratulate the candidate for the next Secretary General, Mr. Norov, for every success. His nomination has been submitted. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. Since you took on this job, you have been working very hard to fulfill this duty, and under your leadership, the Secretariat has been working very effectively with an important role in coordinating the institution building and deepening practical cooperation. On behalf of the Council of Heads of States, I pay our tribute to you for your contribution. I now invite Director of the Executive Committee of RATS, Mr. Sesoyev, to make his remarks.
Thank you, Your Excellency President Xi Jinping, heads of SCO member states, ladies and gentlemen. To begin with, I would like to thank our Chinese host for its warm hospitality to us and excellent arrangements for this summit. In your remarks, you've talked about international situation and challenges we face regionally and internationally. So I'm not going to repeat those details. The regional anti-terrorist structure has always been committed to enhancing law enforcement cooperation of SCO member states against the 3 forces. We have adopted measures to ensure smooth intelligence sharing and forestall violent and terrorist activities at the early stage. We have seized over 150 fugitives on the international list and achieved many other progress. All these achievements have been reviewed at the Tashkent meeting of RATS just before the SCO summit. At the Tashkent meeting, delegates from various SCO member states expressed their satisfaction with the work of RATS. Thanks to the strong commitment of China as the rotating president of the SCO, and thanks to strong support from Secretary General Alimov, The RADS has been actively engaged in cooperation with the UN and other international organizations. We support proposal from Uzbekistan in enhancing the monitoring capability of RADS. As the situation becomes more complex in countering terrorism, we are studying how to further upgrade the functions of the structure. India and Pakistan have been acting proactively to engage in regional counterterrorism cooperation. We commend their efforts. In New Delhi and Islamabad, we had the first SCO experts meeting, which was conducive to enhancing mutual understanding. Member states have been actively taking part in the work of the RADS, and this has been important for us to improve our work. We also support the work of the SCO Afghanistan Contact Group. Today, after the summit, we will have an action plan on counterterrorism cooperation for 2019 to 2021. In future, we will use the opportunity provided by the adoption of SCO Convention against Extremism adopted at the Astana Summit. For the second half of this year, we will see the operation of the secure communications system, and we will have a new building of the Executive Committee of the RADS. All these will enable the structure to more ably fulfill its missions in future. In conclusion, once again, I thank our Chinese host for warm hospitality and thoughtful arrangements. In the remarks of the heads of state, you have spoken highly of our structure. Thank you for that. Director General Sysoev, I thank you for your remarks. Since taking office as the director of the RADS, you've been exercising excellent leadership and enabled RADS to work more effectively to address terrorism, extremism, and separatism, and make an important contribution to regional peace and stability. On behalf of the Council of Heads of Member States, I speak highly of the work of the RADS. Next, I would like to invite President Ghani of Afghanistan to address the plenary session.
President Xi, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we meet against the background of global uncertainty and disruptive change. The space of SCO, fortunately, is experiencing one of those rare open moments of history when creative change, pragmatic pursuit of realistic objectives, commitment to problem solving, and systematic expansion of cooperation between and among states is creating a new environment of cooperation and trust. As a result, the prospects of emergence of a Euro-Asian continental economy are increasingly becoming certain. The chance to expand the open moment into a century of sustained opportunity for our peoples is real. Grasping the opportunity, however, requires fashioning a focused regional strategy to expand regional cooperation on connectivity and contain the threat of destructive change posed by transnational terrorist networks and transnational criminal organizations. Such a strategy, by necessity, will require a change of perspective on the potential and problems of Afghanistan. Simply put, the conflict over our territory is whether Afghanistan should function as a platform of regional connectivity and global cooperation or a launching pad for destructive design and plots of transnational criminal organizations and terrorist networks. Permit me to make the case for how, despite the immense cost to our people by the imposed conflict, our prospects for becoming a platform for cooperation and connectivity are significantly improving. First, having formed a national consensus on peace, we are firmly committed to a political solution to the conflict with the Taliban. Our conditional offer of peace is comprehensive, and we are pleased that for the first time, the ulama of Afghanistan have provided the total religious justification as to why the conflict should cease. We are pleased that the Taliban have accepted our ceasefire declaration for Eid. This is the first break in 23 years, and we ask for your support to utilize the window for moving forward with intra-Afghan peace talks. Second, we are pleased that our international partners are resolute in their support for a stable, peaceful, democratic, and self-reliant Afghanistan. The U.S. South Asia strategy has been a game changer in creating the enabled conditions for peace and stability. We gratefully acknowledge the support of our partners in the security arena through the Resolute Support Mission and developmental partners through the EU-sponsored Brussels conference, to which all of you around the table made significant contribution. We are utilizing the generous support to change the lives of our people through consolidation of effective and efficient institutions that will be accountable to our fellow citizens. Third, we are witnessing the emergence of a regional consensus on the need for a stable and connected Afghanistan. On behalf of our people and government, let me thank the leaders around the table for their generous comment and for the momentum generated, and to highlight some events and measures. The Tashkent conference, hosted by President Mirziyoyev, introduced a fresh dynamic in regional cooperation on peace. President Xi, Prime Minister Modi, and President Mirziyoyev engaged President Trump and other world leaders on the need for treating Afghanistan as an area of cooperation. Thank you. Prime Minister Modi and President Xi's dialogue and agreement to cooperate on Afghanistan has injected fresh energy and allowed us to articulate an agenda for Afghanistan's prosperity through access to the massive regional market of these two engines of global growth. We are pleased with intensification of our bilateral dialogue with Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. We have engaged in an intensive dialogue with Iran through 5 specialized committees and are focused on integrating the progress into a framework agreement. I thank President Rouhani for his engagement. On our bilateral dialogue with Pakistan has resulted in a framework agreement called Afghanistan-Pakistan Action Plan for Peace and Solidarity, signed on May 14, 2018. Our focus now is to translate the agreement into real momentum on the ground on reduction of violence, acceleration of peace process, combating terrorism and narcotics, in regional connectivity and cooperation. Reciprocal visits by high-level delegations have served as the catalytic mechanism for the dialogue in progress on paper. Our progress is on paper. We are hoping for cautious optimism to translate the progress into progress on the ground. Fourth, our agenda of regional connectivity is making real progress. Afghanistan now has 3 dry ports linked with railways to Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, and the 4th railway linkage with Iran is being constructed to link us, India, Central Asia, and China to the port of Chabahar. Uzbekistan and Afghanistan are committing our own funds to the construction of Balkh-Herat Railway in seeking international support for the transformative project. TAPI has reached the Afghan border, and we are committed to turning this route into a full development corridor. CASA 1000 is becoming a reality. Even more significantly, our open access energy and fiber optics policies are resulting in significant private sector investment. The potential of Afghanistan as a hub of regional energy trade is no longer a pipe dream, but a rapidly unfolding reality. We're making weekly progress on expanding the national grid to provide power to drive the engines of growth. Regional transit agreements are linking us to China, Caucasus in Europe, in air corridors, are fast expanding, thereby gradually lowering the cost of transport and access to the export economy. Fifth, to overcome our inherited problems of corruption, poor governance, and limited utilization of our human and natural capital, we're accelerating implementation of a comprehensive agenda of reform. A generational change in leadership and management, we're transferring authority and power to a capable, dynamic group of young Afghan men and women. 49% of our cabinet, for instance, is under 40, and the age of ministries is fast declining, the average age. The retirement age for colonels and generals has been brought down to 55 to 62, and the torch of defense and security development is being passed. We're making real progress in implementing our anti-corruption strategy, as demonstrated by certification by national and international observers that we have fully met 14 of the 19 benchmarks set for this year and have significant progress on the remaining. The reforms enable us to responsibly utilize our massive natural capital in minerals and oil and gas for the current and future generations. We are committed to holding parliamentary elections in 2018 and presidential election in 2019. Distinguished leaders, our progress is real, but every step forward is made very difficult in a difficult context. We're gaining our rights through the immense sacrifice and valor of our defense and security forces, the resilience and will of our people in the face of hardship and deprivations, and the commitment of the absolute majority of Afghan people to peace, stability, democracy, and prosperity. Forces of disorder, as exemplified by terrorist networks and criminal organizations, are dedicated to our destruction and your insecurity. The twin evils of terrorism and narcotics must therefore be confronted coherently, comprehensively, and cooperatively. The first step in this process is to create a narrative of cooperation on the basis of win-win conception of Afghanistan as a platform for regional connectivity and cooperation, and then harness the Shanghai spirit to create the necessary action plans for regional cooperation. I am pleased on the agreement on SCO Afghanistan Contact Group and look forward to expanding cooperation. Geographically located at the heart of Asia, in a historical gateway to the Indian subcontinent, Afghanistan is poised to function as an Asian roundabout. It's not aid, but trade, but market access, transit investment, and regional cooperation that we seek to assume our rightful place in the rank of developmental states in countries and serve as an anchor of regional and international stability. Let me close by thanking President Xi and the people of Qingdao for excellent arrangements and exceptional hospitality. I had last visited in 1996 and am inspired by the transformation that has taken place. May the prosperity generated by your leadership, President Xi, continue for people of China, and the benefits be extended to all of your neighbors. I congratulate Kyrgyzstan assuming the chairmanship and wish Secretary General Alimov all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, President Ghani, for your statement. We are glad to see that Afghanistan is making good progress in national reconciliation and economic reconstruction. In my bilateral meetings with other leaders, we have had such a common understanding, that is, we are ready to provide support and assistance to Afghanistan for its peace and reconstruction. Now I give the floor to President Luchenko of Belarus.
Уважаемый господин председатель, уважаемые коллеги,
Your Excellency, Mr. President, my dear colleagues, first of all, I'd like to thank President Xi Jinping for his warm hospitality and wonderful organization of this summit. China's presidency has assumed historic significance. China has put forward the idea of building a community of shared future for mankind. And last year, in the face of new threats and challenges, and for the purpose of building a world of greater peace and prosperity, China made a significant contribution. However, in the face of transformation in geopolitical situation and the world economy, there are greater tensions. Uncertainties are new normal. Confrontation has led to greater tensions, and conflicts are leading to greater unpredictability. The SCO needs to step up its efforts to uphold international peace, uphold international law, and the voice of reason in international relations. Trade protectionism is on the rise, indirectly and directly affecting all of us participating in this summit. All the countries are facing the risk of being dragged into trade wars. In this context, we need a holistic approach to fully leverage the economic potential of the SCO to strengthen the multilateral trading regime. Members of the SCO, observer members, and dialogue partners need to strengthen practical cooperation to fully leverage transport and logistic potentials. That will be a priority for our future cooperation. If that is materialized, it will play an important role. We are connecting our development strategies between the Belt and Road Initiative and the Eurasian Economic Union. Important progress has been made. Belarus is one of those who championed this connectivity and synergy, and we need to further tap potentials to build a greater area for cooperation. China-Belarus industrial project is a pearl along the Silk Road. The industrial park is proceeding smoothly, attracting a lot of attention from foreign businesses, including China, Russia, Belarus, and businesses from European countries. In order to support SCO economic development, we propose the following. First, we need to strengthen food security. Last year, India and Pakistan officially joined the SCO. With that, our geographical coverage has extended to 1/4 of the world total, and we have almost half of the world population. Therefore, greater food security is critical for the growth of SCO and in maintaining regional stability. President Xi Jinping, President Putin, and other leaders have underscored the importance of security and stability. However, if people don't have enough food, there is no security to talk about. Agricultural development and advanced agricultural technology and machinery has been a traditional strength of Belarus. With that, we can contribute our share to food security cooperation of the SCO, we can provide quality agricultural produce. Every June, we host in Belarus an international forum on grains, and we suggest a standalone side event during that forum, and I invite all of you to that forum. Second, we need to strengthen cybersecurity and IT information security and move forward technological advancement. In today's world, in the technological world, challenges and opportunities coexist. No country can grow in isolation or dominate certain domain.
над созданием общей электронной платформы, скажем,
I propose that we work together to set up
которая объединит в себе возможности электронных СМИ, социальных сетей, электронной торговли многого года. Это позволит усилить кооперацию, повысить конкурентоспособность национальных экономик в условиях глобального мира, а также поможет нам обеспечить безопасность стран. Третье.
And ensure our respective security. Third, nuclear energy security and peaceful use of nuclear energy. We fully support the peaceful use of nuclear energy. And we want to pursue mutually beneficial cooperation. According to the Astana Declaration, we shall work together to strengthen cooperation for greater use of nuclear energy.
В завершение хочу еще раз поблагодарить Китайскую Народную Республику, лично ее председателя за высокий уровень организации саммита и рабочих период. Кстати, уровень организации и форма нашей сегодняшней работы – это пример для всех международных организаций, как нужно работать, а не ходить по залам и забывая о том, что надо слушать друг друга. Также позвольте пожелать успехов нашим коллегам из Кыргызстана, которые принимают председательские полномочия в рамках организации. Благодарю вас.
And wish them all the success in their presidency. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Belarus is an observer state of the SCO. It has been actively participating in the practical cooperation in wide-ranging areas and contributing its share to the organization. We thank you for that, and we support closer cooperation between your country and the SCO. Next, I'll invite President Rouhani of Iran to take the floor.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة على رسول الله وآله وصحبه.
صدا ندارم من. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, His Excellency Mr. Xi Jinping, the Honorable President of the People's Republic of China, Honorable Presidents, Honorable Prime Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. We are celebrating the holy months of Ramadan, and I would like to congratulate Eid al-Fitr to all the Muslims of the world. At the outset, I would like to express my appreciations to His Excellency Mr. Xi Jinping, the Honorable President of the friend country, the People's Republic of China, for the warm reception and cordial hospitality and proper planning and organizing of this summit meeting. The 18th summit meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is convened at a time when the international community is facing unprecedented challenges. At the international level, we face the challenges of unilateralism, terrorism, extremism, and the weakening role of international organizations and treaties. At the regional level, we have the challenge of the interference of trans-regional players and the weakening of proper dialogue mechanisms, as well as poor connectivity and integration on the basis of common interest. And finally, at the national level, the challenge of foreign interference and domestic threats have resulted in fragile security, political, economic, and cultural infrastructure. In order to confront such challenges at the regional level, we require closer regional cooperation in various areas. Countries of the region should prioritize similarities to racial, religious, cultural, and historical differences. They should set up their long-term interests on the basis of mutual interest and abandon short-term benefits at the cost of others and especially neighbors. In this way, we can envisage a safer, more stable, more developed and more prosperous region for all. Poverty and underdevelopment are among the root causes of conflict, instability, and expansion of terrorism and extremism in the region. In the meantime, inclusive and participatory development, as well as preventing the obstruction of global trade and legitimate economic relations on the basis of non-political considerations, are a necessity for accomplishing this common goal of us in reaching balanced and sustainable development. Here, I deem it necessary to emphasize that unilateral sanctions are not only in contravention of international rules and regulations, but also they obstruct the legitimate international trend of trade and commerce. In this respect, the security of energy and non-political handling of energy-related issues are the main requirements of regional and global development. And without doubt, economic and political and legal unilateralism would undoubtedly result in weakening regional integration. In this respect, the U.S. efforts to impose its policies on the others are expanding as a threat to all. The recent example of such unilateralism and defiance of the decisions of the international community by the U.S. government is its withdrawal from the Jcpoa or the nuclear deal. So far, the Islamic Republic of Iran has fulfilled all its obligations within the framework of the nuclear deal, and the International Atomic Energy Organization has endorsed in 11 reports my country's full compliance with the nuclear deal. All the parties to the nuclear deal are responsible towards fulfilling all the obligations they have admitted in line with the Jcpoa, and other member states of the United Nations have been also obligated by virtue of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2031 and Article 25 of the United Nations Charter to fully implement the provisions of the nuclear deal and refrain from any action which would impede its implementation. The Islamic Republic of Iran, in order to continue participation in the nuclear deal, has offered limited opportunity to the remaining Jcpoa participants and other UN member states to present practical guarantee on the implementation of all the provisions of the nuclear deal. The United States would certainly monitor the reaction of others to its exit from the Jcpoa. Therefore, the absence of proper response to the U.S. withdrawal from the nuclear deal would be considered as costless unilateralism for the U.S. government, and this would have destructive consequences for the global community. Now, I would like to appreciate Russia and China in order to maintain the Jcpoa. I welcome your efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, during the past years, terrorism, separatism, and violent extremism have infested many parts of the world, especially our neighborhood in Central and West Asia. Terrorist groups are networking and recruiting fresh forces in view of the lack of intelligence sharing among the countries of the region. Therefore, increasing intelligence sharing among regional countries can effectively weaken the regional networking of terrorist groups. In this respect, we need to devise proper regional mechanisms and present necessary legal solutions for better confrontation with these terrorist groups. The Islamic Republic of Iran during the past decade has been facing the vicious phenomena of terrorism in its soil and the neighboring areas, and has gained valuable experience in confronting terrorism and extremist groups. In this regard, I can refer to our cooperation with the governments of Iraq and Syria in the fight against Daesh. In the same manner, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has relied on the fruitful and valuable experience of its member states in the past years to define diverse mandates to confront multifaceted challenges of the region. The Islamic Republic of Iran stands ready to cement its cooperation with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to fight terrorism, extremism, and separatism and narcotics. Excellencies, the strategic position of Iran in linking east to the west on one side and north to the south on the other has generated proper opportunities for our region and evolved to be able to utilize our port facilities in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman, as well as our extensive rail network which connects East Asia to Central Asia and Europe through the north-south corridor and the west-east corridor. Iran is aware of its role in establishing regional peace, stability and development in the region and can therefore be considered as a reliable and safe partner for the expansion of inter-regional and international economic cooperation, thanks to its remarkable capacities, such as its young and educated human resources, rich energy reserves, and abundant mineral assets and geopolitical status. I thank you.
Thank
you, President Rouhani, for your remarks. Iran is an important observer state of the SCO. We attach great importance to the role of Iran in SCO. We look forward to enhanced cooperation between Iran and SCO and its member states in the related fields. Indeed, to our regret, we have seen the United States has made the unilateral decision of withdrawing from the Jcpoa. China is willing to work with Russia and other countries to preserve the Jcpoa. Now I would like to invite President Batulga of Mongolia to speak.
Your Excellency, President of the People's Republic of China, Mr. Xi Jinping, honorable heads of delegation, distinguished guests and delegates, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I wish President of the People. Xi Jinping and the government of PRC for successfully hosting the annual Council of Heads of States and Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Mongolia considers that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has been maturing into a regional international organization with a proper level of cooperation mechanism and legal frameworks, as its activities have broadened in recent years and encompassed many directions such as trade, economy, culture, education, science, and humanitarian fields. Mongolia is pleased that with the accession of India and Pakistan as full-fledged members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in 2017, the scope and engagement of SCO activities have been further broadened, contributing to the strengthening of peace, stability, economic, and multilateral cooperation of the region. We are fully confident that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization will further strengthen its organizational structure and perfect its operations, as well as contribute constructively to the development and prosperity of participating states. Ladies and gentlemen, Mongolia actively pursues a multi-pillar, peaceful, open and independent foreign policy while firmly maintaining its foreign policy continuity. The concept of our foreign policy is to develop friendly relations to broaden sustainable cooperation with the Russian Federation, China, and with our third neighbors. We are keen to engage actively and constructively in multilateral political and economic developments in the Asia-Pacific region. Therefore, Mongolia has attached great significance to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, considering it as an important channel to engage in the regional cooperation. And since the time of attaining an observer status in 2004, Mongolia has actively participated in meetings and activities of the SCO. Also, our country attaches special importance to developing an economic cooperation mechanism for member states, observer states, and partner states. Mongolia is always ready to and looks forward to contributing to the progress and prosperity of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization by actively cooperating with member and observer states along with other dialogue partners. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, enriching of SCO countries' cooperation with the tangible economic content and collectively resolving socio-economic challenges faced by countries of the region are basic conditions to settle regional security and stability matters. Mongolia strives to engage actively with the SCO states in energy, infrastructure, transport, mining, heavy industry, and other areas of economic cooperation. Furthermore, we aim to work with you in humanitarian, education, culture, science, health, disaster management areas, as well as combating terrorism and illegal drug trafficking. Setting these goals as a priority, Mongolia is thoroughly studying the possibility of elevating its engagement in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The political and public discussions and debates have already started. I would like to express my sincere hope that the SCO member states, particularly with our two immediate neighbors, will pay special attention to and support us in incorporating Mongolian Development Road Program with China's Belt and Road Initiative, as well as Russian Eurasian Economic Union cooperation mechanism in implementing the Economic Corridor Program through Mongolia, thus improving the bilateral mechanism, building railways, roads, pipelines of natural gas and oil through Mongolia, and facilitating trade by removing tariff and non-tariff barriers. Also, we would welcome your tangible support to Mongolia in acceding to the East Asian Summit. On the sidelines of this Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, the presidents of Mongolia, Russian Federation, People's Republic of China have held the 4th trilateral high-level meeting and discussed the future direction of trilateral cooperation and reached certain agreements. Mongolia has been attaching great importance to Mongolia-Russia-China trilateral cooperation, and we believe that such cooperation will give an important impetus to developing and intensifying collaboration not only for 3 participating states, but also for SCO member states. I would like to again express our eagerness to work with all participating states of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization towards mutual trust, friendship, progress and prosperity of the people of our countries, and also want to congratulate Kyrgyzstan for their next chairmanship of the organization. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your statement. Mongolia is the first observer state of the SCO and has over the years taken an active part in the important events and practical cooperation in this framework. Mongolia has made a unique contribution to the organization's growth. Within this framework, China, Russia, and Mongolia also have good trilateral cooperation. We appreciate Mongolia's contribution to the SCO, and I'm sure cooperation between the organization and Mongolia will go to even greater heights. Now, finally, I will give the floor to Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed of the UN.
Xi Jinping, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure and honor to be here with you at the 18th meeting of the SCO in the beautiful city of Qingdao, and I thank President Xi for his gracious hospitality. With the accession of India and Pakistan representing the first formal expansion since 2001, SCO is assuming even greater importance, and your expanded range of activities will have implications for peace, stability, and prosperity across the region and far beyond. You represent more than half of humanity, and you are playing a growing role in the shaping of a new narrative for the global agenda based on cooperation and dialogue. With the growing tensions and complexity of the global challenges, and yet even more opportunities, the world needs a fresh dynamic and a recommitment to multilateralism, and we need it now. As the Secretary General said in April at the Bao Forum of Asia, global problems need global multilateral solutions. Regional and international threats to security and stability, from transnational crime to climate change to violent extremism and terrorism, cannot be resolved by any one country alone. Only our joint solidarity, firmly grounded in mutual respect, trust, the rule of law, will build and strengthen the cooperation needed to respond to such challenges. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SCO's Development Strategy 2025 are our blueprints for global action. I am pleased to note that our joint communiqué following the 17th meeting of the SCO Heads of Government Council last year underscores the consistent implementation of the 2030 Agenda. This is an important step towards strengthening international cooperation in key sectors of mutual interest, such as trade, energy, especially renewables, transportation, long-term investment, smart agriculture, frontier issues such as ICT, artificial intelligence, and other digital technology advances in health, education, among others. Our joint commitment to support the promotion of innovation technology, to sharing experience in the formulation and implementation of national development strategies, as well as to working towards the creation of favourable investment and business climates, are crucial, and we are here to collaborate with you in those endeavours. Excellencies, to ensure fair globalisation, we must have the necessary investments and capacities to steer national economies and their development agendas towards our common goals as outlined in the 2030 Agenda and the Paris Agreement. The international financial system must therefore provide the instruments to support these investments. In this vein, inclusive, sustainable development around democratic institutions and the rule of law, with peaceful challenges to address grievances and space for civil society, are the proven routes to preventing conflict and violent extremism, thus creating an enabling environment for lasting investments in sustainable development. Excellencies, let us be reminded that the empowerment of women and girls and harnessing the aspirations and talent of our youth have a critical role to play in creating stable and resilient communities and societies. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, partnership based on trust between countries can make a critical contribution to strengthening security and bringing about prosperity. Today, it is encouraging to see positive regional dynamics in Central Asia and closer interaction among countries. I commend the SCO's commitment to counter regional threats and welcome the 2017 Convention on Countering Extremism. I also commend your revitalization of the SCO Afghanistan Contact Group as a strong contribution to support the Afghan-led peace process and an acknowledgement that peace in Afghanistan is essential to stability and prosperity across the regions and the world at large. New horizons are opening for diplomacy. The United Nations Center for Preventive Diplomacy for Central Asia is your close and reliable partner in these efforts. At the same time, the Belt and Road Initiative is promoting connectivity, economic prosperity, and cultural exchange across the regions. The United Nations continues to support stronger collaboration between developing countries by catalyzing and facilitating South-South cooperation across many spheres. As we prepare the second high-level conference on the South-South cooperation in Buenos Aires in March next year, we count on the continued strong support and engagement of the SCO and its member states. We also count on your support and engagement in the Secretary-General's ambitious programme to reform the UN. As the demands of the United Nations change, the Secretary General is determined to make our organization fit for purpose and fit for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, in fact, this relation is strengthened today with the signature of another Memorandum of Understanding between the SCO and the United Nations agency UNESCO. This cooperation, a people-to-people initiative, will focus on culture and education and will benefit not only the people of the SCO member states, but also the BRI countries and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take every opportunity, starting with the first ever UN conference of heads of counterterrorism agencies later this month, to build and strengthen our partnerships and cooperation at the global, regional and local level. I thank the Secretary General of the SCO for his excellent relationship with the UN in laying solid foundations for our partnership. The United Nations, providing the global town hall for our global village, is committed to working with you towards a shared goal of creating an inclusive, resilient, peaceful and sustainable future for everyone, everywhere, ensuring that we leave no one behind. I look forward to a successful summit and deliberations that will pave the way for a long-lasting partnership with the United Nations. I thank you.
Thank
you, Deputy Secretary General Amina, for your remarks. The United Nations is the most universal, authoritative and representative intergovernmental organization. The SCO stands ready to work with the United Nations to promote the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, advocate the concept of shared benefits through consultation and collaboration, improve global governance, and make joint contribution to human progress and development. And with that, we are approaching the end of this plenary session. I would like to thank all of you for raising valuable opinions and suggestions for the future development of the SCO. I also want to thank representatives of the CIS, of CASTOL, of the ASEAN, of SICA, of Eurasian Economic Union, of the IMF, and of the World Bank for participating in our summit. In our plenary session, we reviewed the development of the SCO. We have exchanged views on the current stage of development, the missions and prospects of the SCO. We have coordinated our positions on major international and regional issues and reached extensive consensus. What has been achieved at this Qingdao summit has once again demonstrated the strong vitality and dynamism of the SCO. This summit will be a new starting point for us to work hand in hand to promote regional prosperity and stability. And that is the end of the plenary session. I would like to invite leaders of the member states to attend the document signing ceremony, and together we will meet the press.